The Stalhelm was superior. And even to this day, we style modern helmets in this style for real combat. The Stalhelm is a different helmet. It's much more bulky, it's heavier, it's thicker, it has more protection, and most importantly with this piece, it's camouflaged, which was a late war addition. Camouflage was another thing that people came to realize later in the war was important. For example, during the Revolutionary War, it was very easy for the Americans to go after guerrilla warfare. They could see the British from miles away. The American uniform was blue and white and black. Which one on a battlefield would be much easier to see, red or blue? We stumbled into that because we wanted to differentiate ourselves from the British. So we went with an opposite color or a very not the same brand of color. And we were closely allied with the French at the time, so we thought we'd go with a similar color to them. Well, we took that thought into World War I near its end. What are the little ways? If we're going to go utilitarian with it, what other ways can we go with it? We figured out that the dirty and splotched helmets were much better and were very often not caught as much as your pristine helmets were. Your pickelhaube, I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of it, but it's got gold trim and a black base. That stands out even in the dead of night. You'll see it from far away because the gold will contrast with the black, and the black will embolden the gold trim. So they couldn't do that, and they did get rid of that. They put covers. The Germans really wanted the pickelhaube. They loved it. It was wonderful. The unification of Germany brought so much prosperity. They wanted to keep their symbol, but they just couldn't. They figured out ways to take off the point of the pickelhaube. They figured out covers. They figured out all these different things that would allow them to keep their pickelhaube. But whenever it comes to the biggest problem when it comes to war, the manpower spoke for itself. We were losing too many men. We were having too many sent off. We had to do something better. So the Germans went with the Stalhelm. Biggest differences, I already said a few. It's heavier and it's thicker, but the bucket goes deeper. And not only does it go deeper, whenever it goes beyond your ear, it doesn't stay fixed to your head because that would change as you turn your head left and right. They widened it out and covered part of the neck. Because the Germans, they figured if we're going to cover your head, we're going to cover your neck too. It doesn't cover the whole neck, but it covers the parts that are important. The stuff that'll give you whiplash if you get hit, the stuff that'll get hit with shrapnel if it comes towards you. And because it goes at an incline towards the bucket of the helmet, it'll deflect off. Then, on top of that, they kept the liner. The liner is still a thing that exists, but only they made it separate to the piece. This is where they realized having the liner separate to the actual body of the helmet is important. It dampens. Having the liner separate to the helmet is important because it brings an extra layer of ricochet to the bullet. For example, if somebody punches you directly, you're going to feel the punch much more. Meanwhile, if you are wearing a padded piece of clothing and they punch that through you, then it's going to dampen it significantly. The problems that they were having with the Adrian type helmets and the early World War helmets was it was all one piece, and if you did get struck there, you would still end up concussed. Or if you had it chin strapped, you may very well get whiplash because the chin strap goes with the helmet. Having a separate liner allowed for the helmet to roll around, so to speak. It allowed it to jar, to move, and be actively independent. And not only that, but it would allow a little bit of spin, a little bit of play between the bullet, the helmet, the liner, and you. So not only was it heavy, but now you also had an at-ease way of doing things. The Germans didn't really put their decals on the Stalhelm itself. They figured if we're going to go fully into having a utilitarian helmet, then we're going to go fully. So their decals weren't on the sides of the helmet, something that they would do in World War II. But they did figure out camo, just as the Americans did. So now, their Stalhelm was the superior helmet of the time, and it was the superior helmet of World War II as well. But you can see that the Allied forces in World War II definitely started to go towards a Stalhelm style. This piece itself, it's faded. Normally with these early camos, if you see a pristine one, some of them look more blocky, some of them look very free. This one looks old. You look at it and you don't even really notice it at first. It's only whenever you look at it in the light and you actually look at it that you notice, oh yeah, there are different colors. You can see a muddy green, a dark yellow, what used to be red, and sometimes you can see a black line going from spot to spot. This piece, it's worn, it's old, it's seen its day, it's seen its share. It doesn't have the bumps and the scrapes like the other two had, but in a way it almost looks more tired. It almost looks like it's saying to you, yeah, so what? It wants you to see what it's done. It knows it knows it's the pivot point for history between helmets. That's why this piece is here. We don't have the liner for it, but if we did, it would be nice. But it's not just about the Europeans. We do have a helmet here that comes from America's shores.